Superman, The Coming of Atlas. This book is so flippin' cool. Original issues coming out in 2008. This is Superman 677 through 680, and it also has a reprint of DC First Issue Special from 1975, an original story by Jack Kirby. And it's so awesome. This whole book is absolutely great. So let's dig into it, huh? This is a great collection. I love this story arc. I wasn't picking up every issue of Superman or Action Comics at the time, but I dug this one so much that I had to pick up all the issues, and I upgraded to the collection when it came out. Written by James Robinson, art by Renato Guedes. I'm probably saying that wrong. Please forgive me. There's a short introduction here from Robinson in the front. And all the covers are done by Alex Ross, and they're absolutely beautiful. I do like actual reprints of the covers and not the virgin covers in my collections, but I guess that's what having the original comics for. And seeing the virgin artwork with no logo or box on it looks real nice. This is such a good piece of artwork. One of my favorites, 677. But this story kicks off with Superman and Green Lantern playing fetch with Krypto in outer space, and Krypto's been reintroduced into continuity at this point in time, and he's a bit of a vicious creature that Clark is kind of taming, and has made his new pet. And Green Lantern is kind of reminiscing about his more carefree past as he's seen Clark embrace a happiness with his life, because he's seen some dark stuff, you know, with Coast City and everything, and Parallax and the Star Sapphire, and yeah, he's just he's thinking, you know, maybe it's that naivete that Clark has that makes him Superman and makes him so good. But this story has it all, because right here, as it's kicking off, we get a giant kaiju fight. So we got the space police taking care of this giant monster. So cool. I love its design, even though we only see it for a short introduction here. So, yeah. Very cool. I am digging this fight, but like I say, it's dispatched real quick, and we think that it's Superman flying on down, but and especially with the cover with him holding up the Daily Planet globe, and we see this scene right here. But it's also very appropriate because we get a page turn as we see the figure yelling Superman, because who holds up the globe, you know? It's Atlas, our main villain character. And he is so cool. He looks awesome in this book. And this artist does a brilliant job later in the story emulating Kirby's original artwork in the flashbacks. He is so cool, and he is just wailing on everybody. This story gives us some amazing fights. I would say fights, but it's really one extended fight that's spread out over the course of a few issues. But he's just beating the shit out of everybody, yelling for Superman, because he just has something to prove. And I love this dude's design. Just shirtless, he's got the red boots, he's got the red skirt thing and the red hood with the gold helmet and belt, but he's got those bright blue gloves. He's very much a proto-Superman. So at the end of the issue, we get him meeting up with Superman, but no proper fight yet, just him beating the shit up out of everybody in sight to get his attention. But look at this clash. Like, you really get a sense of the strength of both characters there. And I love how wrinkled and grizzled and just like worn Atlas looks here. The beginning of this issue is fantastic with Jimmy and Lois on their way to the scene to see what's going on. And we get this fun bit with Jimmy thinking about his morning and wondering what kind of morning Superman had, because Jimmy's morning consisted of pie and coffee. But Lois knows what his morning was like, and we get this flashback to what their morning was, and her giving Clark a bit of grief both about Krypto the dog and Zatanna, which we get a little bit more into the Zatanna later, but it's setting up some story stuff while adding some fun humor with Lois getting a little bit jealous of him hanging out with superpowered ladies wearing fishnets. But man, this double page spread, each issue gives us a great bit of artwork where we get a double page action spread, and this is so cool with him just being decked like that. And you see what I'm talking about. This is just one massive tussle. It is so cool, and I love how Atlas gives as good as he takes. You know, like Superman is getting roughed up. Science Police ain't doing too great with how things going down. And this is really cool how it flashes, and we get a flashback. And this is actually, we will see the first issue special for Atlas at the end of this collection, and it is phenomenal. But this flashback sequence takes place after that. So we're kind of seeing his future right now, which is still the past, if that makes any sense. One thing I'll note is that this story of his flashback after story feels very much like the original Robert E. Howard Conan type journey, and that's very funny because we'll see in his original issue it's very much the story of the first Conan movie before the movie came out. Like it blends a lot of the Robert E. Howard Kull mythos a bit in with a little bit of the Conan, and they shake it up, but we get some Kirby in the mix. So I really like that story a lot. I love this character of Atlas, how he's presented in the original Kirby stuff and here as a villain in the Superman book. And I would love to see his story continue. I never saw him again after this. So please leave me a comment and let me know, because I wasn't picking up every issue of Superman and Action Comics at the time. And I read all the way up through like the whole Krypton storyline, the new Krypton storyline. Man, I don't remember Atlas ever showing up again. So please let me know when and where he did, if that happened, so I can track those issues down, because I do love the character. But here we see he's been pulled out of the past from this shady, shadowy military organization which wants to take Superman down. So he doesn't know quite how it happens, but he's been stolen through time and brought to the current. But he used to be king of the world and a conqueror. Now he's in our future world, and well, he's gonna try and conquer the land again. I'm loving this old school art, just the emulating the old 70s feel. Very cool. And we see that although he was able to take over, and he started out he became hardened, and when he absorbed this magic crystal into his body, the crystal that bestowed his power upon him, he was flung through a portal, which is how the organization was able to grab him. So who knows how it actually happened and who was in cahoots with what. But he's here now, and he's got to battle Superman, because these people are kind of setting him up and telling him to, and he wants to conquer the world anyhow. So like Superman's going to have to be taken out sooner or later, so he's going to do it now. But he's going to take down that organization too. He's just not having it. The world is his. And man, I think he could take it if he wants to. Because he is a tough cookie. Look at this cover. We got a Supergirl in the action there. She doesn't do too much in the story, but she is here for some window dressing. I love these panels here, cutting between all the action and the onlookers, and just the savage anxiety of the moment. But yeah, another 2-page spread of just kicking ass. And Superman's looking a little worse for wear in this one than the last one we saw, huh? Oof. But yeah, they're just decking each other, and both are having a not good day. But Lois, I think, is doing worse than Clark, because she's having to see this, and there ain't not a thing she can do. Here we're flashing to the extended version of that previous conversation with her giving him a hard time about Zatanna, and, Clark is like, it ain't like that. It's just, her magic's impressive. Let's go see the magic show. She gave us tickets to see it. She's going to be in town. And she gets all jealous, but he only has eyes for her, and she realizes how silly she's being and how lucky they both are to have each other. And, well, then it ends with that. So there goes the breakfast table. But that's how Superman's morning went. So I think Jimmy would be jealous. But Superman deserves the best, right? So good for him. So not really having anything to do with the story in this collection as a singular piece, but just throwing in stuff for the continuity and for the serialized nature. Here we're cutting to Lana, who's working at Lex right now, and she's just being fired at this point in time. So it really has no bearing in the actual story as is being presented. That's just there for the continued adventures of what's going on. We'd have to be following the book as things are going for that bit to really matter. But she does have a fun exchange here where as she's leaving, she talks about how she kind of smuggled away some data, and she fired this smug dude right before he walked in the room. So that's fun. We see this fella appearing and disappearing. Jimmy sees something, but Lois don't know what he's talking about. Hopefully he got a snapshot. Meanwhile, Supergirl's just chilling with some cute kitties, but she overhears what's going on and zooms away. But the shadowy organization ends up blasting her with this concoction of cosmic krypton light, and she gets doused with some no good energy. Like, she is not feeling it, and she's right about to get her butt beat, and maybe a little bit worse, if you know what I'm implying, from Atlas here. But Superman struggles to pull him back and tells her to get out of here as soon as possible and, just get some help. Avenge. So he's just standing over a collapsed and beaten Superman, yelling, "Who else wants some of this?" And we get a few contenders from Metropolis running up for the defense, but they don't stand a chance. Who will defend our great city now that our greatest champions lay at the ground of Atlas? That's who. A good boy. What a great cliffhanger page, too. I love it. And this cover by Ross is just beautiful. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks that, because I've seen this reused in a number of times. Like I've seen this. I'm pretty sure I've seen it on a T-shirt, and I know I've seen it used as promotional artwork for other things besides this original issue it was on. But what a great cover! All the covers in this collection are absolutely phenomenal. But the two generic ones, the Krypto and the one with the globe, are pretty iconic. And at least this one I know for a fact I've seen in some other places. But I love all the ones with Atlas too. And man, I wish Atlas just got more attention. I'd love to see him brought back. I'd love to read more comics with him, both the continued adventures from his original origin issue, or as a continued villain for Superman in more modern day comics. But man, he's cool. And here, our double page action spread is Krypto just digging in and showing that he is a tough dog. And more than anything, this is a showcase for Krypto, because he's been, at this point in time, reintroduced into continuity, and this is showing him being not only introduced to the public, but somewhat embraced. Now, these pages here got to be tough if you're a big animal lover, because we're seeing Atlas beat the crap out of this pup. And it also lets us know, yeah, he is a bad guy, because, you know, bad guys can be like, man, they killed a few people, whatever. But if you hit a dog... But Krypto just keeps coming back. He is not letting up, because he's defending his owner. And I love this here, because Lois is watching, and she's realizing her previous fear, and though she hates to admit it, jealousy of Krypto is dissipating. And we see the continued bit of her conversation from earlier, and her saying that no, Krypto is not a good boy. He's too much trouble. He's too wild, and he's too vicious. But she's realizing now this dog loves her man that she loves, and she thinks that she might love Krypto because of that. And I like that little bit of growth and the embrace of the character. I like Krypto. It's a silly concept for there being a superpowered dog, but you know, Superman's kind of a silly concept too. So if you can't handle Krypto, can you really handle Superman? And Superman's just the ultimate power fantasy for a young kid too. And what does a young kid want more than to have his dog, his best friend? So why not have that superpowered best friend too? I like it. And we're seeing Krypto getting zapped by that space satellite, and over here he gets blasted by all the different colored energy, and it's just pounding him, boom, boom, boom. But he doesn't care. He's still digging in, because he's got to defend his owner. And this Atlas guy, he just seems no good. And Atlas mentions magic, which makes Clark have the bright idea that, oh yeah, magic, Zatanna's in town, and this guy is talking about magic. I think he's magical, which we know he is, because he absorbed that powerful crystal into him, and the mages used magic to make the crystal absorb into him. So, you know, like, he's got that power within him. But he zaps over, and, well, you know, that ain't Zatanna. It's her understudy. Turns out she's with Shadow Pact out doing some stuff dealing with a demon. So we got Zachary Zatara here. I love the alliterations. And he's just a smug little shit. And he's not even able to help Superman fully. But he's like, all right, I can give you like a minute-long super sun charge. But his magic doesn't work good on anything except inanimate objects. So I don't know why he's so smug, other than, you know, just a fun character. But but that's a good little bit. Superman zips back over right as Krypto's getting punched up good, and nobody likes seeing a dog get hit. But especially not that dog's owner. So This is a fun gag, but a little bit disappointing. Superman just like slams into him and they go crashing into the underground. And we just get this bit of the hole and the people, the hole and the people. I wish there were at least a little sound effect blurb. I realize not everybody likes the onomatopoeias, and it takes away from like the gravity of the situation and it being like, ooh, look at the art. But I think it would give at least more of an impact of what's going on down there, because we don't even see the conclusion to the fight. If we didn't get so many pages of awesome fighting already, I would be disappointed. But that does feel a letdown, especially without the sound effects there. I just feel there's a loss of impact. But this bit is so good, where Superman's just coming into the crowd of people who are cheering and clapping. He's like, no, you don't cheer for me. Cheer for him. He's my dog. And you know what? Now he's your dog too. And he's a good boy. And that's the end of the story arc there, you know. Everybody's just clapping for Krypto, and Atlas has been defeated, and the day's saved. And we just had a good time and a fun adventure with some cameos of other characters. Cool monster at the beginning, the introduction of a new villain, and you got the interpersonal stuff with Clark and Lois. This is just a fun, done-in-one story. You can just jump into it at any point in time, and you don't have to know too much about the current continuity. You just know you're having fun. So here's that first issue special with Atlas, and this is all Kirby. It is so Kirby. I love it. Yeah, edited, written, and drawn by Jack Kirby. And it starts off with him just being such a boss. And we got this fella just glazing him up like crazy as he's on a stage here, and they're ready to challenge people for some fights. And look at him just crushing those rocks. I love just the grand scale of this page, the architecture, the bold, like, coloring, lighting, just the shape of everything. It feels so powerful and like mighty. So we can see here a challenger steps forth, and he wants to fight Atlas. He thinks him crushing those rocks is just a trick, but nope, it ain't. And we get this right here, chapter 2, and a bit up here talking about him. The legend. So we see him just smashing up all these people and guards who are upset about the commotion that he's causing with this one fellow that he just took down. And he just goes up kicking, punching, smashing. He don't give a fuck. Just like we saw earlier where he was tearing up the science police. Anybody standing in his way, he do not care. And I love this where we got the archers coming out and he just grabs one of the dudes, one of the noble fellas, and just uses them as a human shield. And here we get the flashback to his very beginning origins, which is just the introduction to the Conan the Barbarian movie, with his town being set ablaze by these raiders who come in and are taking slaves. He sees his father killed before him and his mother taken away as a slave, and he gets grabbed by the big boss, who is a serpent man, and he's even got a serpent crest on his helmet here. And so now he swears vengeance. He strikes the dude with a mighty power, knocking him down and running away. This fella in the reeds grabs him and is like, "Shh, we gotta hide. Keep your mouth shut." He finds out that the kid is the last survivor of this one group of people who lived up in the mountains where they found this magical crystal here, and whoever holds the crystal is bestowed a powerful strength, and only he knows the way to the magic crystal temple in the mountain. So we have the further adventures of Atlas, all the mighty deeds he performs, the people he saves. I love this bit here where he's holding up the bridge. So cool, toppling over the evil idols. A mighty warrior. Here he's even given this golden helmet as like proof of his deeds. So that's the origin where he gets that. And I really like that added flair to his look. Makes him look just awesome. Very, very cool. One thing of note, though, is in the future comics, the fella has red boots, whereas in here, his boots are blue like his gloves. So, that's kind of funny. But this promises to have the setup of some great adventure with him coming face to face with the slaver who had killed his father and kidnapped his mother as a child. And that's where the original issue ends. And it promises, thus a great saga begins. And we have all these stories that we never found out about until flipping way through up in here. And, hold on, power of editing. Yeah, not until we get to these issues right here. Now we're being filled in on a little bit of his story after all that happened. But man, a little bit too late, you know what I'm saying? I want to know about all the stories and everything that led up to that. Man, that'd be so cool. I wish DC would do that, but I know they won't. However, I will say I had an absolute blast with this comic. Just the coolest fights, fun characters, a great story, and just a wonderful book to pick up and sit down and read with some coffee whenever you're feeling like. And man, I just read this story, and now I feel like I just read it again, flipping through and talking to you about it. So, what a good time. I love it. Thank you for joining me. Superman's awesome. We'll talk to you later.